Hello to everybody on adminchat. My name's Emily Newstead. I am the CEO and founder of Bow Gifts, and thank you very much for having me on here today. I'm going to talk to you about something that I think is incredibly important, and it's about self-identity. Self-identity during self-isolation. And it is something that I think is very close to all of our hearts and should be for the right reasons, absolutely. But before that, I want to say a huge hello, sending you incredible Yorkshire vibes and lots of love from this neck of the woods to wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing today. I'm sending you the best well wishes because that's how I want to start this chat. Starting it with good vibes, lots of love, telling you that you're awesome, telling you that you are doing a great job, whatever it is that you've done so far today, and whatever it is you plan to do for the rest of the day, you're doing exceptionally well, and you must remind yourself of that. That is also very, very important because you are a good egg. You're all good eggs. You've all got lots to offer and lots to give. So I'm going to start by telling you that I think that, and also recognising the fact that the PA community, you are the glue. You are the glue to many organisations. Maybe just one, maybe more than one, but you are the glue nonetheless. You are integral on an interpersonal level within your organisation, within your team, within your role, and what you do bring to the table is an awful lot. So at a time like this, when so much has changed and we have gone from one extreme to the other, it could very easily feel as though all of those things are unravelling a little bit. And that's why I want to talk about self-identity. Because at a time when a situation changes so drastically, there are certain things in the immediate that are impacted. And that is first and foremost going to be felt internally with ourselves. So what I want to discuss in today's admin chat, I'm going to take you through put my teeth in, through a few things. And there's different areas that I want to touch on. And the heart of what I want to really drive and get across is the importance of taking a step back, taking that step back, and I'm repeating that because sometimes that can be said and not fully addressed or taken in, because we always feel that we ought to be putting our best foot forward 24 hours a day. So I'm saying take that step back. We're going to become a little bit introspective, because when you nurture yourself, you will nurture others. And it's important to do that. It's important to look after your own Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's why you put your oxygen mask on first. And it's not because you're being selfish, but you put your oxygen mask on first because then you can help others. So when you are the glue, you can't be depleted by trying to be everything to everyone. And in a time like this, in a crisis, in a pandemic, there's a real danger of trying to spread yourself too thin and trying to keep up with the Joneses, as it were. I'm feeling as though that list of things to do is never ending, and it can almost create or stimulate a sense of panic. We are in a crisis, we are in a pandemic, and that extreme version of life has gone from one to the other, one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. And so that's why I want to talk about self-identity. So here goes. First of all, I want to say I'm giving you permission. If you haven't given yourself permission already, I'm giving you the permission, so please pass it on, to allow yourself to accept that your days are not all going to be productive. Some days you are going to feel on top of the world and feel that you have achieved a lot. And other days you are going to feel as though your greatest achievement that day might have been getting up, it might have been making that meal, and that might have been it. And I'm saying that from the heart because human behaviour is very much, well, not rather, but human behaviour on the whole, or the best part of it, is very similar. So what you are feeling, what you may be thinking, is very likely to be the same as what other people are experiencing as well. Yes, there are cultural differences, and yes, we have different stages in our career, our life experience, and different things we can bring to the table that might and will, in fact, to be fair, impact on what that feels like. But on the whole, humans, by nature, by routine, and creatures of habit, tend to, on the whole, feel much the same and experience those emotions, albeit on different levels. So when it comes to your self-identity, let's just get one thing straight. You are not alone in how you feel right now. And I want you to take a deep breath in. I want you to recognize and give yourself the permission to accept that right now you are navigating uncharted waters and your self-identity has been thrown right into the middle of that. When we are certain of our surroundings, when we are certain of our habits and our routines and everything that happens on a day-to-day basis, that gives us confidence. When we get things right, that gives us confidence. When we hit our targets, reach goals, reach and fulfill all of our daily tasks and activities, that gives us confidence. And over time, those elements, those variables that feed into each of those and our days, or each of those tasks in each of our days, that over time creates that sense of purpose. That feeds into our self-identity. And we need self-identity because that helps us to create that sense of position, whether it be in a business, whether it be in a team, whether it be in the family. That can be in personal and professional lives. But the important thing is that when it comes to that certainty, there'll be lots of different factors that feed into that. It might be your hobbies. It might be your interests, where you like to spend your leisure time, who you spend your time with during the day, outside of work, what ethical and voluntary activities that you involve yourself in. All of these things start to form your character, your self-identity. And the more that those variables exist, the more certain you are of who you are, what you represent, what your beliefs are, what your values are, what your moral code is, who and the company you keep and who you hang around with. Now, when you're thrown into a situation where you've got to navigate uncharted water and everything that was once part of your daily routine has, to some extent, changed either in part or entirely, then one of the first things that may begin to happen is you start to doubt yourself. And some of that doubt comes in from different areas. Now, those areas might come from the fact that your daily routine or your habits have unraveled, and everything around you that was secure no longer feels such. It doesn't feel as though it's anchored in, that it's actually rooted in something, because all of that's been unrooted, uplifted, whatever, term you want to use in that sense. But it's been moved, it's been changed. So that sense of knowing and that creature of habit that you were has suddenly become unravelled. Second of all of your habits and what you are now structuring to create your daily routine under the new circumstances will and does look different. You are on systems that you previously weren't using, not in all cases, granted, or the ones that you were, you might be using far more than you ever did. You're not having the same human interaction each day. Business outside of your control has in fact changed dramatically. And all of those things feed into how confident you feel in a situation that is ever changing and is so unknown. So don't be hard on yourself if your confidence right now feels flat. If who you once knew feels different, you are in essence creating another version of yourself. That's hugely impressive. It's amazing. And for some people, this lockdown now is between 6 and 8 weeks long. Some people, it might have been for longer, some for less. But that's not a long period of time in which to establish a new version of yourself, yet feel confident with that version of yourself. So again, I'm giving you permission, and I want you to give permission to yourself, first and foremost, to just recognize how much has changed around you and to have that breathing space and to take breath, to take stock and step back. Because if anybody thinks for a moment that their self-identity hasn't changed, then I'm really sorry, but there's an element of denial. And that might hurt to hear that. That's not intended. It's from the heart, it's from a good place. But life has changed. It has moved. Our perspectives have changed. No doubt, with everything happening in the world, some of your values may have changed. Your purpose may feel different. If it does, that's okay. I'm here to let you know that it's okay. Don't fight yourself. And hey, if you've only just realised that you've been trying to deny that moment where you just let go, great. If you've suddenly had that moment of introspective thoughts and feelings and just thought, you know what? Okay. Go with it. You're the glue. So what makes it harder is the fact that I know whilst you're trying to figure out what your new self-identity is, and there's pressure on that because there'll be other people who'll be looking up to you and you're meant to have all the answers. That's a lot of pressure. That can feel quite overwhelming and might end up making you feel like you're running on empty. Just as any parent would feel, or any teacher might feel, if those children, those people looking up to them, need them to have all the answers whilst they're still trying to figure it out themselves. But what I must say to you right now is that everybody is going through this process differently, yes. Variables will be different, of course, but nobody is exempt from what is happening right now. Everybody has and is having their own experience of it. And the one common denominator is that None of us can control it right now. And again, once you allow yourself that permission to realize that you can't control what is happening right now, that is also going to help with your self-identity. That's also going to help with giving yourself a break and saying you're doing brilliantly well and giving yourself that pat on the back. What I do know is that building up your own confidence within a situation like this can be done when you start to tell yourself that you trust yourself. Because when you trust yourself, it means that even though you can't control what is happening right now, you trust that whatever you are presented with and whatever does lie ahead and whatever you are set to face, you will deal with. You will manage it, you will absolutely action it, and you'll be able to complete whatever it is that lies in front of you. And if it helps some people in that moment, create scenarios for yourself, but don't mentally exhaust yourself. Remember, you're the glue. People do need you, and by mentally exhausting yourself, you will be depleting yourself. You can't do that. So again, take that step back. Remember, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel that loss of self-identity, but trust yourself. Trust and have the knowledge in your skills and in your talent and in your experience that whatever is going to come in front of you, you will handle, you will deal with it, and you will manage it. And importantly, don't compare yourself to other people. It's very easy to do that. It's very easy when we see so much happening to start measuring up. You mustn't ever try and measure up, because the importance of the world moving, the key to the cogs keeping moving, is that everybody's got to be on and off at different times. What do I mean by that? In simple terms, I'm hoping that if I don't want to cook dinner, my husband does. So when I'm off, he's on. And vice versa. Now take that at scale. You can't have everybody on at the same time, because you can't have everybody off at the same time. So part of your self-identity is to not try and measure up to people in this current situation. Everybody will be having an off hour, an off day, an off 10 minutes, whatever it is. That might be when you're on, and vice versa. This all plays part to your self-identity. Remember, everybody is adapting. Everybody has their own skill set, their own talent, their own experience to draw upon. But crucially and critically, remember, you can't be on all the time. And it's important that we're not all on at the same time or all off. So when you're having an off, my suggestion is don't look at things where people are on, because all you're going to do is put pressure on your self-identity, put pressure on who you feel you are in that moment. And again, it comes back to you potentially depleting those resources of your own in that moment. Because if then suddenly some guilt pours in, you think, I should be doing something right now. You're going to, but that was your downtime. That was your rest moment. That was your go and have a slice of cake and a cuppa moment. Tune out. Tune out and discipline when to tune in and turn on. That helps with your self-identity. Now, here's the beautiful part. Each and every one of you is a masterpiece. And a masterpiece is not created in one moment. A masterpiece is created with many thousands of brushstrokes. A masterpiece is chiselled into a beautiful piece of art, a statue, through hundreds of thousands of small chisels over plenty of time. So all those small changes that you're making at the moment, day to day, they're compounding. Every little thing that you do, new habits, they're compounding. The first thing you might have done when you woke up in the morning might be different to what you're doing now that you're working in isolation. That's your new habit. It's part of what you're identifying with. It's compounding. That can be going in the opposite direction as well. It's not all compounding for the good. So have a think. You can create this. You're in control of this. You can choose what you want to compound. Create a list. Create a list. Again, these are introspective activities. You don't have to share these with anybody. This can be for you, you alone. Because when we reflect and have time to just work on ourselves, that is where self-identity strengthens. So create a list. Look at your daily habits, pre-lockdown and during lockdown. Look at what habits and routines and things that you were doing, because everything you do compounds if you keep doing it over time. So that small habit that you start and you do between, 8 and 8:30, if you do that every single day, it will compound into something. And what you want is for things to compound into success. And when they compound into success, that's when you see results. But those results to begin with will be invisible. Those results aren't going to be there from the moment you decide to do it to the moment that that idea is gone. Because that's not how a masterpiece is created. That's not how the statue that is this wonderful piece of art is created. It's done over long periods of time, and it's done by making small bits every day. They compound into great, incredible things. So what are those for you? Create your list. Have a look. What were you doing pre-lockdown? What are you doing during lockdown? Because down the line, there is going to be a third version. We've got pre-lockdown now, version 1. We've got lockdown, version 2. Version 3 is when we come to the next stage. And we already know it can and won't look like pre-lockdown. It's impossible. And it isn't going to look like lockdown forever. There's going to be a third version. I don't know what that will be called yet. Maybe you could think of something cool, who knows? But that third version might not come for another 6 months. There might be a few variations of that, but it'll be a combination of pre-lockdown habits, routines, rituals. It'll then also contain lockdown rituals, habits and routines, and there'll be a mix, there'll be a blend. So when you create your list, circle the habits, the routines that add value, the ones that have greatest purpose, because they're the ones that you can take into this third version. They're the things, they're the assets that you can keep and bring to the table to add most future value and add most future purpose. The world is changing. It will change. It has changed. People are adapting. Nobody has a crystal ball and nobody knows what that future is going to look like for anybody. So everyone is finding their feet. You are not expected to have all the answers. People might look to you for them, but it's how you manage the response to that. But give yourself the breather, take the step back. And I will keep saying that. Give yourself permission to just be taking this all in and taking it a step at a time. Now, there's a wonderful, wonderful podcast that I've been listening to. It's on Spotify, the free version. You don't have to have the paid version for this. It's called What You Will Learn. It's two Aussie guys. They're really cool. And in listening to these two Aussie guys, they basically review, sensational books. And they've interviewed Simon Sinek on there recently. And they've got some wonderful interpretations and reviews. And they were sponsored by Blinkist as well. So they're pretty cool to, be sponsored by Blinkist, who we normally go to listen to, book reviews. Anyway, audio. And that's helped me right now. Where I have found personally my greatest moments to anchor myself and to, if you like, if I had roots growing out of my feet, where I can plant myself to feel like me, it's when I spend time working on me and cut out the noise. It's when I work out who am I, what am I rather identifying with. And it's changing. It will change. And it'll probably look a little bit different again in 6 months' time. My core values and my principles will still remain the same. But other things that link to where I want to channel my time and energy, they're going to keep adapting. And when I have those moments, whether it's just going and having a bath for half an hour, whether it's going on a walk, it's something that allows me to identify with myself. It gives me space, it gives me time. It allows me to reflect. It allows me to internalize what is happening. And I'm very happy to say that there are days where I feel incredibly productive, and there are days where I feel that all I will achieve today is getting up, eating, resting, being at one with myself, getting dressed. That's it. And I'm not going to try and tell you anything different, because that's the truth. And I consider myself a very driven, a very passionate, very positive, optimistic person. And I am still all of those things. But I'm not going to try and tell you that I don't have days where I feel flat, because I do. Days where it's all too overwhelming. Because all of that is me trying to work out who I am, what's the version of me in this new situation. I think she's pretty cool. I quite like her. She likes cake. And there's lots of pluses. But everybody is in a stage of their day where they're processing what is happening. So if I was to pull all of this together and leave you with a few key things, this is it. And if I miss anything out, you can just add it on at the end. First and foremost, you're doing a brilliant job. You are the glue. But just because you are the glue, it doesn't mean that you're expected to have all the answers, but you might be looked upon to have the answers. They're two different things. Give yourself the space for you. Take a step back, have a breather, but take that step back. Allow yourself and give yourself the permission to accept that you don't know. Nobody knows what this situation is bringing, will bring, and we can't control it. Now, if you're like me and you're organised, letting go isn't easy. But we do have to let go of the fact that we can't control what's happening. So trust yourself. Trust that you will and do have the skills, the talents, the experience to deal with whatever is in front of you. Accept that lockdown has been for about 6 to 8 weeks. It could be longer, could be shorter. And accept that that is a short period of time in which to have all of this worked out. It's a short period of time for you to know who this other version of you is. So it's okay if you don't know who the other version of you is yet, because you will. Write your list. Write your list of pre-lockdown you, lockdown you, all the things, the habits, the routines that were all part of that. Circle the ones that you want to take forward into the third version. Don't deplete yourself. Go and have that bath. Go and have a moment to be introspective, to internalise everything. So stop measuring yourself against others. You are you, and you're a pretty awesome version and unique. You're great. So remember that. And remember that everybody can't be on at the same time, because when someone else is off, someone else does need to be on. And when they're on, others need to be off. So when you're off, be off. And when you're on, be on. That's fine. But when you're off, be off. Go do something for you. I wish everybody well. You will all come out of this stronger. Remember, you're a masterpiece. Small, compounding changes will bring you success. You will figure this out. You will find and get to know and feel comfortable and confident with the new version of you. You've not lost anything. You're just not activating everything at the moment. That's all it is. You've not forgotten how to ride the bike, but you don't need to ride the bike to remind yourself that you can ride a bike, because you can ride a bike. You see where I'm going? And there's a little saying that I really like, which is, crisis doesn't create character, it reveals it. So be at peace with yourself. Grow with yourself. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself like you would treat your best friend. And remember, you've got this. And don't forget, listen to what you will learn on Spotify with the two Aussie guys and enjoy. Really, really enjoy. Now, by no means do I have all of the answers to self-identity. By no means is this all of the ways in which you can simply help your self-identity at the moment. There are many ways and many different things to think about. But what I really wanted to achieve with this was for you to remember that you are a superstar. You do keep a lot together. And every small thing that you do does help. Just remember to look after you as well. Take care. Lots of love from Yorkshire, and I hope you go on to have a wonderful day. But one thing I am asking of you is that before the end of today, go into your calendar on your laptop or on your computer, whatever it is, and I want you to put in some reminders. And those reminders are going to pop up to remind you, to tell you that you are awesome. That reminder is going to pop up to tell your future self to go and have that break, go have that cup of tea and that slice of cake and tune out. And that reminder is going to tell you that you're doing a brilliant job and you are getting there. And last but not least, you all must have a calendar reminder that tells you you're a masterpiece. And I think that ought to pop up at least once a week to remind you that it can't be created overnight. It is all about the wonderful, wonderful small changes that you are making. Take care. Speak soon. Goodbye.